first is the proposal. First, it's the proposal, and then it's your actual dissertation, and finally, the fruit of all of this, I would call, it's your research paper writing. But that is also very technical. But because these two things were connected with each other, so I thought, why not talk about this also, the different stages of, because this is again first, I mean, once you are into it, once you are done with, over and done with your dissertation, the next wish is to write your paper. You want to be an author and you want maximum publication. So considering that, I have, I'm going to now talk about the structure of your research paper. One thing you need to understand, I mean, telling everything that your research paper is actually your miniature, your thesis in miniature. I mean, if you have written some 60 pages or 20,000 words uh, for your dissertation, this is actually some 20 to 24 pages, 5 to 6,000 words if you are working on your research paper. It's the same thesis, but the mastery is, the skill is that you have to make it, the briefest possible version of your own dissertation. So let's hit the bell. It's the first is your abstract in your when you're writing your research paper. First is your abstract, then of course your introduction, then your literature review, your methodology, your data analysis, and it goes up to the number 10. So reading through it, you can very well relate to what we discussed earlier. These are the same stages, these are the same terms used again. Why? Because this is the same thesis going to be presented in a nutshell, going to be presented briefly. So that is the reason, if you're wondering. Now, next is your abstract. This is actually a concise summary of a research paper of your entire thesis. An abstract lets readers get the gist or the essence of your paper or article quickly in order to decide whether to read the full paper or not. So even you must have observed it that if you are reading the abstract is good enough to tell you what sort of paper you have at hand, whether it is relevant to you or not. So that is the purpose fulfilled by abstract in writing your paper. You have it in your thesis, you have it in your publication also. Okay, then abstract lets readers actually get the gist of or the essence of what the entire paper is going to be about. So it's a summary, the brief, miniature of your thesis. It also prepares readers to follow the detailed information, including the analysis portion, argument in your full paper. Well, this is abstract is the place where everything goes into it, but in the briefest possible manner. For instance, you talk about your, first of all, your methodology, you talk about your sample size, you talk about how you are going to analyze the collected data, the tools, etc. And of course, some of the major findings, and then your future direction to the readers. Okay. Later, an abstract helps readers remember key points from your paper. So, like I said earlier, some of you prefer to write the abstract portion for your paper in the end, including everything in a nutshell. So, from abstract, we move ahead. The context. Abstract is basically the place, the area where you develop the context or the background information for your research, the general topics of your study, and to specific topic of your research. That is the information you are giving to your reader. The central question or statement of the problem, your research addresses. That also has to be into your abstract. What's already known about about this question, what previous research has done, then your research or your analytical method, like I said, methodology has to be mentioned there. Your main findings, if it's a qualitative research, and for quantitative, the results of your finding, any argument. Significance or implication of your finding or argument. Yeah. So, the main reason, you can say, the rationale, the goals for your research, why is it important to address these questions, and why have you taken this as a topic? All of this, in a nutshell, briefly, it has to become part of your abstract. And when you choose when it's the writing part, you should know when you're choosing what sort of verb tenses with your abstract. So actually, once you have written down all the paper, and research has been done with in the past, so you will write the abstract portion in the past, simple past tense, because nothing is going to happen, nothing is going to be revealed, and nothing new is going to be revealed to the reader. You have done your research in the past, so you will write the abstract in the past. In social science, sample uses the present tense to describe general facts and interpretation that have been and are currently true. So, including the revelation, explanation, or the social phenomena under study. So that you can, you can always read, but be very careful about which tense to be used. So it's the past tense. We are still on the abstract. In sciences, the samples use the past tense to describe what previous research have been conducted on, what the authors have conducted, what is the method, etc., etc. Now, this is very, interesting, which I want to show to you. It's an entire thing. You will see the different colors, the coding in different colors. So first you have the blue. This is actually a specimen of writing a good abstract. First, you'll have, in the first, the growing economic resemblance of spouses has contributed to rising inequality by increasing the number of couples in which there are too high or too low earning partners. So with every color, you can see for yourself that there are different tags. So please read the tags, and then it will be clear to you that how you have to put in this entire information into your abstract. It has to have, a sort of introduction. It has to have, you will demonstrate the limitations, your method, which you have used, your data, your analytical method you will use for this study. And then in the end, this aqua blue color, it is reflecting the finding. So now you can see, and when you will read it in your own time, in your free time, you will see that this would make a very good sense to you. Yeah, okay. This is another, sample of writing good abstract. So again, like the previous one, it is one color, but you can see how the argument is running into um, one thing running into the next thing. So, how brief it is, how precise it is, and yet it is containing all the different and major components of your research paper. So, by looking at it or by reading through it, the reader would fully understand what this research paper is all about. Okay. Here you see another example, how you open your abstract, how you would discuss the method somewhere in between of between your abstract, and then talking about the significance, and from significance you will move on to the discovery, the findings which your research is contributing. And if you want to say something as for in terms of future recommendation, you can always find a space here within the abstract to write it. Okay, this is one important link. When I was looking for the related data and I mean working on today's session, this link actually helped me to look up for the relevant material. So this I'm sharing with you in your own free time. You can explore it and you'll find it interesting. Yes, this is actually what happens when you have a topic, you have decided on it. It's difficult to explain it, but on reading it, you would understand how each thing is connected with the next. You have basically, this is what goes on within the mind of a researcher when you sit to write about introduction. You will talk about it, and you will see the pros and cons of this, and then hopefully it would, by it would make meaning to you. It will become meaningful to you when you read it in your own free time. I'm moving on. Yeah. So abstract. From abstract, now we are moving to the introduction. Introduction is the place where you have to think of the scope, which is the topic you will be covering. You have to think of the background of your topic. You have to think of why it is important, because being a researcher, you know the importance, but this is the place, the introduction chapter, where you have the reader, you have to let them know why and how this is important. So introduction is the chapter where you have to discuss them. The scope, the entire context, so that nothing remains ambiguous in the mind of your reader. When they will understand it, I'm sure they'll appreciate it too. So, if you ask me why to write an introduction, I would say because it helps the reader understand the topic's background. It explains why your research paper is worth reading, and you are offering a guide, a kind of navigation for the rest of the piece, and you pick your reader's interest. So introduction is the portion uh, where you have to sort of make things very, very clear so that a kind of interest develops. If I am a language person and I'm reading through something which is related to, me, and if it is written beautifully, it will, believe me, pick my interest and I will continue reading it. So, introduction should be kind of that, fully, explicitly explain things. And the less copied, the best it would be, because nobody can explain it better than the researcher whose work is it. No research, I mean, copied and pasted material would justify what you have written and what you have trying to explain. So, what should you include in an introduction? We include an overview of the topic. So that is why overview of the topic. Then rationale for your paper. Uh, I mean, you are justifying that what compelled you as a researcher to take that research problem and to talk about it, to want to explore it. You describe the methodology you will be using, and because let me refresh your memory. We said that work has been done in the past. So you will not use the future tense there. All will be in past, and occasionally where the nature as such, it will be simple present tense. So you'll describe the methodology you used, and then there will be a thesis statement and an outline. So that is what should be made part of your introduction portion piece. Okay. Thesis statement, I can tell you the thesis statement is that one single sentence that would sum up the entire, or most of what you have discussed in your paper. So if you don't have the skill to, write it, I would suggest do take time out and practice it because this is relevant. Okay. So you have kind of justified being a researcher, how, why, and what. We are still on the introduction portion, the first chapter in research proposal. And if you're writing for the publication research paper, then you talk about after the introduction. This is part of the introduction. We'll talk about research problem. I mean, has actually what occurred to you, why you have taken up this problem specifically, and how you're going to solve it, and kind of refer to how other related studies have justified the topic which you have chosen for yourself. Then there is rationale, research rationale. Again, you are justifying, you are trying to explain to your reader, um, and you are explaining basically that why you have undertaken this. What would be the impact of it in future? Let's say in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time, how would it affect? So that's the rationale behind it, the idea, the concept behind your topic which you have chosen. Next is the statement of the problem. This is actually the aim of the research is to analyze the impact of the leadership on the employees of Amazon. It's an example actually. What you're seeing on your screen right now, that is a kind of topic which is about the leadership of on the employees of Amazon. Uh, that's the topic, and the rationale or the purpose that is explaining why you have taken this topic or why it was important for you. Okay. Again, practice is something which would, you can go wrong one time, you can go wrong two times, three times, but then there has to be an alignment, between writing your research objectives and then research questions. Mostly what is prevalent, mostly what is in common, how students construct it. Research objectives are actually the reason that you want to investigate something. And then based on this, you have your research questions. So in terms of language and in terms of, the statement, it is not very different from each other. So that they would actually, the objective and the questions, they would reflect on each other. So there should be alignment even in terms of the uh, language. Yes. Now, after you have decided on research objectives, you will shape or you will make your research questions on them. For example, uh, this is for the practice sake. If you're following me, I'm showing you some examples of how to write research questions on a topic which I showed you on Amazon employees. So considering that, bearing that in your mind, this is the kind of research questions which you will have uh, written for your research paper writing. For instance, first question is what is the reaction of the employees of Amazon towards the leadership qualities of its leader? Then you have a second and a third question. So that is related to the topic I showed you earlier. Again, you have to practice. You have to develop an alignment between the researcher so objectives and the research question because they reflect on each other. This was actually meant to be if this section, this session would have gone live, that I would interact with the, attendees and I would let them practice writing research questions, objectives, and hypotheses. But since I don't have any live interaction, so just read through it and please try to understand through my talk. Okay, then there is research hypothesis. You have on the same topic. Please bear it in your mind that I'm always referring to the Amazon employees topic. So, with reference to it, you saw the research questions, and now, with reference to the same topic, you are reading the research hypothesis. Because the hypothesis sometimes you need to develop in order to test whether the theory or the investigation which you are proposing, whether it is correct or incorrect. So, a hypothesis, I'm sure you all know, it has to be tested to be correct or incorrect, to be accepted or rejected. So, that, uh, you know, that topic, which the Amazon topic, these are the research hypotheses which the researcher has developed for writing the research paper. Now, the difference between the research paper and a research proposal. I'm sure you are very well familiar by now that research paper is, it always comes once the dissertation is done with. And once the dissertation is done with, going back, moving backward, writing a research proposal is the first thing. So you can say that these are the offshoots of the same thing. One, we start with the proposal writing. We discussed it in detail in the earlier session, and then we moved on to the dissertation writing, and now finally the research paper writing. So, what is the difference they're saying? A research proposal is a piece of academic writing, mostly an explained essay that puts up one's own interpretations upon a topic based on research methods and analysis can be termed as research paper. Proposal is framed, which is a shorter version of the research paper, and it can be considered as a prologue to the research paper. So we are actually moving in three different areas, but all connected or interrelated. It's just that when you start it, it is when I mean you if it's in the when it's in the making, that's the proposal. Dissertation is while you are doing it, okay? And then finally you will have the research paper writing. Once you have done everything, that is why we said earlier that your abstract it has to be the simple past tense because everything is over and done with. Now, format of literature review. Introduction or background information section. The body of the review containing the discussion of sources. And finally, a conclusion and recommendation section to end the paper. Format of literature review. Again, what is the technology? Sorry, what is the terminology which I used for the literature review writing for your proposal? Same is the terminology, same is the pace, same is style of writing it for a paper writing. I repeat it for you, for my listeners. It doesn't have to be patchy. It shouldn't look like that it's copied, you know, from here, from different sources, and all these bits and pieces are simply bashed together. No, it shouldn't look like that. They should, one idea should run into the next. One idea should give way to the next. Your statement, your work, your concept has to merge with any similar idea that somebody else has discussed it at some other place. Okay. So format is an introduction sort of thing, then the body, and finally the conclusion. Okay. Let's go here. Yes, we are on literature review, but this time it is for the research paper writing. So, good literature review doesn't just summarize sources, it analyzes and synthesizes and critically evaluates to give a clear picture of the state of knowledge of the subject. This is more or less a repeat of what I said earlier. No copying, no pasting. It has to be merged together very gently. It should go into, other scholars' work into your work. That's how we define a good literature. Now, if I would have the live audience, then this was the practice portion where I selected this topic: what is the impact of social media on mental health of Generation Z? Okay, remember, we are writing a research paper, and this is a topic. Do bear it in your mind. Otherwise, I'll have to go back and forth to remind you. So, this is the topic, note it. And the first thing is that we are going to go for the keywords. Okay, now this example of trends and gaps interviewing the literature on social media and mental health. Note that, okay? So most researcher, I don't need to actually read through it, but this is just to give you a very good idea, very clear concept on how you would handle it once it's your turn to write your literature review when you're writing your research paper. Okay? Now, again, here, like the proposal, you have to talk about your methodology. You have to describe how you collected your data. You will also explain the methods you use to analyze the data, any treatments, any, inferential or statistics, or any, tests you used. So the approach you took to your research, either quantitative or qualitative, and it can also be mixed method. So who you collected data from, your population, your sampling, so all of it will be, you will be going into this section of writing methodology. Okay, you have to be clear in it, clear on this, and it will be easier this time because writing it for the first time when you're writing the proposal, that would be difficult. This time it's easy. Yes, that's good news for you. So, what is the difference between methods and methodology? Methodology is the overall strategy of your research, and methods are uh, when you have surveys and when you have experiments that you see to collect and analyze your data. So, methodology is the overall strategy a researcher is using. And method can be, any method which you have proposed for your for this section, for the treatment of data. Methodology needs to align with your research aims, objectives, and research questions. And I would, stress it upon it one more time because this is actually, the soul of your research paper writing. Any good objectives, any good research questions, they would, really shape and build your research paper. So here you have to define what is your research design. Is it experimental? Is it case study, ethnography, grounded theory, action research, or philology? So it can be I mean, any of all these mentioned treatments, any of these mentioned research designs is up to you, but you have to very, clearly define it into your paper writing. So,
I think
broadly,
Salman
there,
wants, uh, Dr. Noreen, I think Salman wants to say something.
yes. Oh, I was in the flow,
Yes,
actually. I was
we
busy.
totally
Sorry for
understand,
that.
but as we are running out of time, and I request to wrap up the presentation within 5 minutes, please.
Okay,
Possible.
sure. So,
Thank you. Thank
okay,
you.
sure. Okay. So the sampling you have to, you have to then data collection methods, you have to talk about it. The steps which you followed for writing your research proposal, the same replica of it you'll use here, and that's it from my side. I hope it was helpful, and if it was, I'm so glad. Thank you so much.
Noreen, you can, quickly go through the rest of the slides, maybe, or
Okay.
or
We,
do we not have time enough time?
yes, yes, we do have 3 minutes, so she can wrap it
Two,
up.
three
Okay.
minutes. So I can just share my screen
Ah,
and my
Yeah.
I mean, these are the steps, these are the stages going to occur one after the other when you're writing your research paper. So, I mean, nothing is new actually. It's just the technique how you would handle the data and how would handle this writing. So, this discussion is part of paper writing, then research finding. Again, this was a template actually for
mm,
the audience to, relate
mm,
to it clearly.
mm,
And example, more examples. I think that's it. Because even if there is something, it would need time to, for
mm,
elaboration. So that's
mm,
it for today. Thank you
We
so
would
much.
also like to listen you for the next session as well. So there must be a lot of things to be done.
mhm. Exactly. So basically, it was, of course, a wonderful session, and many people are appreciating it in groups as well. And I hope that people must have learned many things, especially the younger students. They know
Yes.
the part of a research paper, how to create a proposal, and basically this presentation is an extension of the previous one. So thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Salman.
Thank
Yes,
you. Thank you
someone is
very
saying
much.
that they want to
We,
ask questions.
ah,
So,
so
so
Miss
if we
Syeda
have
Said,
time, right, yes.
we can just get her one question. So Syeda Said wants to ask question. I request her to unmute herself if she can, or either she can write in the chat
Assalamu
box.
alaikum.
Please, telling us
Assalamu
priority win.
alaikum. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. Ma'am, I
Oh,
have a
thank
question as I have recently started research, so I am honestly struggling a lot. Well,
you.
my topic is analysis of change in idiomatic expressions on social media. I have discussed, but because I have been told that the more you discuss, the better it becomes. But everyone
Okay.
tells me a different story. Honestly telling you, I mean,
Yes.
everyone blows
We
his
were
own trumpet.
we were at that place and stage. Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly.
we can feel you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, would
It.
you mind, Gigi,
Mm.
ma'am, please?
No, Ms. Sadia, I just want to give you an advice and very honest advice, not as a speaker of the session, but as a friend. If you cannot somehow satisfy your supervisor, I mean, you have to deal with everything from her or his point of view. And if he says it's okay, it's really okay, because in by the end of the day, this is what would matter. Like you said, everybody has their own advice to give. So I would, definitely have my own mind to speak of. I would have different advice for you. Have work in,
Koy
close
yerine
collaboration.
bak. Ese koy yerine.
Hello, Sadia.
Gigi, I'm listening.
So, yes. So, It just a piece of advice, if it works,
Mhm,
it has
mhm, mhm.
worked every time. You have to
All
be in
right.
lace with your supervisor, the way she or he
Mhm,
wants things to be done. Because my advice will not help you or for
mhm,
anybody
mhm,
else. Either it's the researcher herself or the
mhm,
supervisor or their collaboration, which would work in the end. So that's all I have
mhm,
to
mhm.
say to this.
All right.
Thank you.
Fine. ठीक है. Thank you so much.
Dr. Noureen is very much right, absolutely right, because your supervisor is going to, defend you.
Yes,
So you and him or her should be at the same page.
exactly.
Exactly. Thank
Sure.
you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
You.
you.
Thank you very much. That's all for today. And I would like to thank today's speaker, Dr. Syeda Noureen, for a wonderful presentation once again and for incorporating this wonderful topic. The email of IELTS of Pakistan has been shared in the chat box. For further details and questions, they may ask the question on the given email, and we will ask the speaker to answer your all the questions. The certificates for the participants and the speakers will be shared on their email addresses. So I have shared also the attendance link. Further, those who have not received the attendance link, they may also write us a request to certificate on the given email address. So Dr. Afshin, please, I would like to again request you to wind up the session, please. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, Dr. Noreen, for a wonderful session, and congratulations to Mr. Salman Siraj, President of IELTS Pakistan, for having another wonderful session and providing an opportunity to the educators to learn from you. And it went very well. We are really thankful, and Dr. Noreen is going to share the presentations, and Mr. Salman is going to forward them. Whoever needs them, they should contact Mr. Salman. Thank you so much. Over to you, Salman.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The recording will be also uploaded on the YouTube of IELTS of Pakistan page as well as can be shared with the requested one. So thank you very much
Yeah.
once again, Dr. Noureen, for your valuable presentation and precious
Thank
time.
you.
We are very pleased and honored to have you in today's session. Thank you, Dr. Mansoor, for always being appreciated and always joining us. We would also like to listen and going to have the conference with all the uh, Bollywood doctors with us. So we are planning for this, and shortly we'll share our plan with that. So thank you very much, Dr. Afshin Salahuddin, the General Secretary Health International, for your valuable time and always being the leading from all the sides, and Dr. Noreen for the wonderful presentation. Thank you all the participants for joining us today, and I'm sure that you'll learn what you have learned a lot of new things today. Whether the topic is very pertinent, but there were the things